Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuhu, and good morning to all of you, especially to you, ma'am. So, I am the first reporter from the group 5, Chapter 4, the meaning of governance and indicators of good governance. So, dating to 1995-200 defines governance as the essential but little understood aspect of the way voluntary organizations are managed. Being little understood, the imperative to clarify the meaning of governance for CSOs cannot be overemphasized. One's understanding of governance informs its expression in thought and deed. Translation into action depends on one's understanding of what it entails. So this chapter presents the findings of the study on the meaning of governance and the indicators of good governance. After comparing and analyzing the responses among the key informants, organizational respondents, and workshop participants, as noted in Chapter 3, this researcher took notes and tapped the interviews which were transcribed. These interviews constantly comparing the results, the reports on the discussions and outputs on the workshop groups. During the validation workshop are also part of the data, organizing the memos and grouping similar or related explanation or meanings together enabled the researcher to derive the categories of the emerging theory. So, the narrative that follows display the categories and their properties that reflects as closely as possible the intended meanings of the data sources. Corresponding tables summarize the categories and their respective properties, indicating the number of incidents within a category for the meaning of governance, and again for the indicators of good governance. So taking note of the tally of incidents for each category was done simply to provide the handle for determining which dimensions are more frequently associated with the concept under exploration. Most of the data gave multiple responses, as the narrative will show the responses that extend beyond one category and therefore will be included not in just one, but in other relevant categories as well. Thus, the total number of incidents for all the categories may exceed the total number of key informants or organizational respondents. The objective of the exercise is to break down the data into core concepts and identify mutually exclusive categories. The purpose is to surface the range of nuances of properties and arrive at the universe of ideas and explanations from which to carve out the meaning of concept being explored from the perspective of those actively involved, engaged, or concerned with Philippine civil society. Explanatory statements and analysis follow after the presentation of data whenever necessary, so as to draw immediate differences or inferences that help put the data perspective. So, the next is the meaning of governance, the perspective of key informants. So, a total of 16 broad categories on the meaning of the governance eventually emerge after analyzing the contents of the responses of the key informants, comparing, determining similarities, grouping, and modifying categories. So these are the 16 categories. Number 1, management. 2, transparency and accountability. Number 3, vision, mission, goals, or VMG, including purpose and policy making. Number 4, manner of decision making. Number 5, the road. Number 6, values and value system other than transparency and accountability. Number 7, structure. Number 9, performance or the measurement of and standard involved. Number 10, funds, acquiring and utilizing funds and other resources. Number 11, the role of government. 12, leadership. Number 13, organizational sustainability. Number 14, interaction, referring to relationship within the organization. Number 15, legitimacy. And 16, the catch-all category. Others to collect together the dimension that will not be included under any of earlier categories. So among the key informants, the most common meaning associated with governance is management. Under this category fall responses that directly mention the term management or related words, or those that refer to directing, coordinating, or implementing organizational activities. Key informants express this as how organizations are managed, running the organization, overall management, internal management, management of whatever you are on top of. To govern is to manage the organization and people, managing or having the mandate to manage or managing the organization well. Almost 1/14 of the key informants have these types of responses. It is the most frequent first response, almost like a synonym for governance. Whether as management or as a policy making, governance involves certain requisite values. The most frequently mentioned 12 informants are transparency and accountability. That is why they merit a separate category from the other values mentioned. This category includes reference to what one key informant equated governance with mechanisms to ensure accountability with the organization to outside funders, stakeholders, and to wider community. Accountability is expressed as the capacity to accountable for what we do. Accountability to people who appointed or selected them. Most effective manner, transparency is expressed simply as being transparent or follows the principles of transparency.